How does it feel to follow your soul truth, to be your greatest self? I'm Destin, living my soul journey through dance in every stage of life, through figure skating from age 5 to competitions everywhere, through writing, poetry, creating my dream book, following my intuition to be with you, to speak with inspiring soul leaders here, unlocking the keys to their journey and share tools you can take home. Welcome to Fatum, where we choose to be our greatest self. Hi, I'm Destin. I'm so glad you're here, and welcome to Fatum, a space to journey inward and upward to discover what it truly means to be our greatest and highest self with inspiring soul leaders from around the world. Let me begin with a question. What if pleasure wasn't something that we chased, but something we actually lived inside of? So often we're taught that joy must be earned, love must be proven, and fulfillment exists somewhere outside of us, in achievement, validation, or arrival. Yet, even when we reach those places, something can still feel out of reach. Today's guest believes otherwise, that pleasure, love, and joy are not fleeting experiences, but actual trainable states of being. Karen Lorre is a best-selling author and transformational coach whose work helps people move out of stress and emotional survival and into a life of ease, vitality, and what she calls chronic pleasure. Once an actress, she now guides others into a deep, more embodied experience of joy. Doesn't that sound great? Her book, Chronic Pleasure, teaches us how to transform fatigue and pain into vibrant energy using principles like law of attraction and mind-body awareness. Before we begin, I want to share a prose piece I wrote inspired by Karen and today's conversation. This is called The Memory of Joy. There is a remembering beneath the noise of effort, not the kind we search for, but the kind that waits, a softness that does not demand, a joy that does not need reason. We were not meant to chase light endlessly. We were meant to become permeable to it. But somewhere along the way, we learned tension instead of trust, striving instead of surrender. We learned to hold the body like a question, tight in the shoulders, breath caught mid-chest, always striving towards next. So we forgot how to feel good without permission. But the body can remember. In the exhale, we do not rush. In the warmth of sun on our skin, in the quiet moment before we check our phones. Ease, openness, love without condition. And when we stop forcing, even for one moment, something ancient begins to return, not as effort, not as achievement, but as truth. A truth that speaks clear. A truth that says, you were never meant to visit joy. You were meant to live here. Once again, you were never meant to visit joy. You were meant to live here. Which brings me to Karen. Thank you so much for being here. You are someone that's truly helping us rediscover joy, not as some fleeting moment, but actually as a way of being. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Destin. I loved your poem. It really touched my heart, and it was so exactly what I live. So I really love that. Thank you.
Good. I was actually a little worried. I was like, I hope this nails it, but I wasn't quite sure. And if I didn't nail it, I knew you would correct me.
You nailed it.
Amazing. And so just jumping into your soul mission, what would you consider is your inner calling right now as a whole in life? I know you've been through so much, but in this moment right now.
It is to really allow myself to be the flute through which the universe plays its harmony.
That's beautiful. So
To just allow myself to be the channel and stay out of the way. That's the basic thing of that I'm really experiencing now more than anything.
Incredible. And I believe you've said, is it a goal to like love all always in a joyful way?
I mean, that's what I do. I don't I guess it's a goal, but I live the goal.
For others to teach others.
Yeah, when people learn how to love unconditionally, it's so much easier than conditional love. Conditional love really is hard, and unconditional love is so much easier, and when people get it, it's freeing. You get so much more energy, you get so much more vitality and so much more power because you are free. You get a sense of real freedom and real, uh, capacity to be. You don't get tired as easily either. It's really amazing.
And that's unconditional love for yourself foremost, right?
For yourself and for everyone and everything.
Beautiful.
I mean, you can still have discernment, but mean you're not gonna go down the dark alley where there's a guy with a machine gun, you know, and just be
Right.
like, "Da-da." But you have discernment, but you're still, it's a freedom. Like, I don't judge anybody. There's certain things, like if somebody's, unkind, I might not wanna talk to them, but I don't stop loving them. I know they're just in pain, otherwise they wouldn't be unkind. I know everybody who's doing something that I don't want
Mhm.
world, even if I know them or not, they're the only reason they're doing it is because they either have some belief system or some pain that is getting in their way.
Right.
Mm.
And you've written, books including Chronic Pleasure and Effortless Enchantment. What would you consider, like, the true definition of chronic pleasure?
Chronic pleasure for me is I okay, we have these things in our brain called hedonistic hotspots. And I had so let's say let's say all the fingertips are the hedonistic hotspots, and let's say this is the pain center.
Mm.
What most people do is they have pain and they'll focus on their pain, they'll focus on their pain, they'll focus on the pain, and it gets so big that it takes over the pleasure centers. If you focus on pleasure, and by pleasure, a lot of people think it means sexual pleasure, that's part of it, but it's the pleasure of, I just put on, I just took rosemary between my hands, so I still smell it, like the pleasure of a good scent, or the
Mm.
pleasure of some beauty, or the pleasure of taking a walk, or the pleasure of the sun on your skin, or the pleasure of seeing a little kid or a puppy or petting your cat or whatever it is. If you fund the pleasure centers so much that they overtake the pain center, it's a totally different world, and my own experience is that I had an injury, 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, where I accidentally severed 3 tendons on the back of my hands, so I needed surgery, and I didn't have any pain, and I was shocked, and
Mhm.
I had the surgery, no anesthesia, no pain.
Are you
Laughed
serious?
laughed through the whole surgery. Yeah, got hand therapy for 10 months so I could, use my hand again and do my buttons and put on necklaces. No pain, and it was amazing, and I've had other experiences where I've gotten something happen and I don't have any pain. I have the original pain of like, don't hit the don't hit the coffee table with your shin, for example.
Right.
Oh, here, the flame is too hot. But then there's the siren that goes on and on and on and on and on. That's the part that's not necessary. You need to sometimes have a little bit of something to know, oh, don't go in that direction. Don't put your hand on the flame. That's the communication that you need.
Mhm.
Don't need the consistent pain that goes on and on and on and on. And part of the way that you let that go is by feeding the hedonistic hotspot so much that the pain center has to shrink to accommodate it.
I see. So, like, when we're in fight or flight mode, stuck in survival mode, have this unprocessed stress, we're essentially focusing on the wrong things at that time, and we essentially just have to reframe our energy and our thoughts.
When you're in that mode, it's hard to do it when you're in it. It's better to do it before you get going. So
Mm.
if you want to get into that state of there's ways you can shift your physiology. One of the ways is just to keep your periphery going, not stare straight ahead, so you can see at your periphery. That tells your eyes that you're safe, and to exhale longer than your inhale. That tells your body that you're safe.
Right, which is very popular in meditation, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things you could do to shift your physiology, but if you can learn to shift your physiology into a deeper state of relaxation before you leave the house, before you get on the phone, before you get on the computer, now when you're going through the world, you have less chance of getting triggered like that. Once
Right.
you're if you're triggered and it's, too late, baby, now, it's really hard to control it at that time. So then what I suggest is, relax. It's kind of like if you're caught in a riptide, don't struggle against the riptide. That's what makes people die. They get too tired from struggling. Instead,
Yeah.
let the riptide take you out all the way to the end of it. You're gonna get water up your nose, you're gonna get beat up a little bit, and then let it
Yeah.
take you out, and then once you're out, swim a little further away, and then swim horizontal, and then you can come into the shore. And the relaxation when you're in that stress place, not beating yourself up,
Mm.
getting mad at somebody else, just like, "Okay, I'm triggered, I'm just gonna relax as best I can, and I'm gonna let myself do something, push-ups, dance, go for a walk, do something to get it out. Adrenaline
Yeah.
takes 20 minutes to be out of your body. So if you do something, if you go on a 20-minute walk, you're gonna feel better by the time you get back. If you do
Just what I did just before this, which was, definitely helped my state of being, and hitting the sunshine. And your work is so transformative, and I love to kinda get into your journey here. You were an actress as well, and you've had these, like, near-death experiences. At what point did you realize that your personal transformation, um, was going to segue to help others?
it happened naturally. I still love acting. I'm still intending I'm getting back into acting, but
Exciting.
but I had fallen asleep, which I don't recommend, during an audition while I was reading with the casting director and on a film while I was being filmed.
Mhm.
And, I those were really bad, so I was kinda mortified. And I started to connect up with my dad who had passed away and my ex-boyfriend who had killed himself. And both of them, they started to train me on how to live. This sounds so weird. Well, it sounds weird that they're both dead as well, but this sounds even weirder. They trained me to live like a dead person, and I remember saying, "What do you mean live like a dead person?" And they said, "A dead person is in pure joy. Nothing, they're immune to anything. They cannot be destroyed. It's that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed." So they're transformed into that pure energy, that pure consciousness. They're connected to everyone. They are free, and they are, um, you know, powerful. And, I said, "Okay, how do I do that?" And they basically showed me basically how to get out of the way to let that energy, the energy that creates worlds, the energy that grows trees, the energy that creates dolphins and bees and butterflies and children and everything else, that energy is flowing through us all the time. And how much are we fighting against it? If you have an argument with somebody, you're not just arguing with them, you're fighting against the whole universe.
To your point, I think we really need to embrace the flow and surrender and try to channel the positivity no matter what's going on, and it sounds like, that is highly effective for you. Now kind of getting into your toolkit, which we just kinda talked about, um, you've written, the book Chronic Pleasure. What can someone get out of that if they're kind of stuck in numbness or stress? What does the book kind of serve to anyone who's needing, some direction?
Yeah, when I wrote that book, it was right after the hand injury because I was so stunned that I didn't have any pain with that significant of an injury. So I thought, what are all the things that I have done kind of intuitively that have helped me fund my I didn't know I was funding my hedonistic hotspots until after I'd had that hand injury. I read about it from a doctor who that's what he studies.
That's
And I thought,
incredible.
yeah, yeah. So then I had just done it sort of intuitively. And so the book is really all the practices, or most of the practices. You can't, it'd be a tome if it was, everything, but a
Mhm.
lot of practices that I had done, and some of that I still do, that put me in this place where I became more immune. I became able to love unconditionally, where I became really clear on letting go of who I used to be and becoming who I really am. So the book shows you a lot of things you can do, and it's written with love. It was a love letter to anybody that has any emotional or physical pain. And I just wanted people to have the freedom that I have. That's why I wrote it.
So, what is so interesting, I didn't realize that you really integrate neuroscience with consciousness, with heart-based awareness. And are there like daily rituals or simple shifts? I think you said something about your spatial awareness that can help rewire someone's experience of this life.
Yeah. One of the things that I love to do is I write out appreciation before, but I write out appreciation and then I meditate, and I do that
Mm.
twice a day usually. And when I'm writing, like I could start off with something simple, like I really like orchids, let's say. So I love how I wouldn't say I just love orchids. I would say I love how orchids keep reblooming and reblooming and reblooming. I've had some of these orchids for 8 years and they just keep reblooming, and I find it amazing. And I love how the blooms last so long. And I love the color of the blooms, and I love how they look like a woman in a beautiful gown, actually, some of the orchids. And, so I could go into all these details about something. And what I'm doing is I am activating things that I really like, and I'm also paying attention to what things make me feel better. And then if I feel better, I write out, as I'm thinking about this, like, oh, my heart is expanding, or I feel tears in my eyes, or I feel more love. Whatever it is that I'm feeling, I'm breathing deeper. It could be even, I'm getting more saliva, because saliva is a sign of relaxation. And so is
Oh,
yeah, when you get a lot of saliva, it means you're more relaxed. And it helps
this
with, digestion. The sound of if you're writing and you hear the sound of digestion, it's a sign you're getting more relaxed. So, and so I do that, and then when I have all that good feeling, I go into the meditation, and my meditations are, I just focus on my heart, and it's quiet, and it's a beautiful reception, I wanna say. I get clarity. I get so much clarity from doing it in that practice that way. I used to start meditation and then I would write my appreciation, but now I write the appreciation for it first. And that sort of primes me, so when I'm in that place of meditation, I can leave more clearly. I don't have a busy mind anyway, but I started this when I used to have a busy mind, and my mind has gotten tranquil.
goals. Major goals. Yeah, it sounds like these appreciation notes open your heart so that you can kind of focus with more of an open heart while you're in a state of peace and tranquility. Speaking of your heartfulness meditation, I'd love to kind of get into healing minutes, which is one of my favorite parts, a gift from Karen to all of us. I believe you're going to share a special heartfulness meditation with us today.
Yeah, sure. So heartfulness, so it's Heartfullness. There are more nerves going from the heart to the brain than the brain to the heart. At least that's what heart math says. And there are neurons in the heart, neurons in the belly. And I believe this is my own theory, but I believe that the heart is the pilot of the brain, and that we've used the brain incorrectly. So if you can, just bring your attention to your heart and just feel how your heart is moving your blood. There's a rhythm. There's a movement. And as you bring your attention to your heart, imagine that you're breathing into your heart. And as you breathe in relaxation. And as you exhale, allow that relaxation to sort of infuse into your heart, kind of like a tea bag infuses into warm water. And as you keep breathing in, you can breathe in that relaxation. You can breathe in ease. You can breathe in softness. And then just imagine that your spirit is right there in your heart. And when I say spirit, I'm not talking about religious anything, but it can be if that's what you like. But I mean that power that created everything that exists, the energy that creates worlds. And imagine that that energy is right there in your heart. And imagine that it's caressing your heart, loving your heart. Imagine that it knows everything that is inside your heart. And as this is happening and your heart is feeling perhaps more relaxed, more loved, imagine that it's sending that relaxation up to your brain. And imagine that your spirit is in your heart and it's also in your brain. And allow your spirit to sort of caress your brain. Allow your spirit to just relax you and just cause you to be easy and relaxed. You might feel a deeper sense of calm, peacefulness, tranquility. And as your brain relaxes, it's telling your body that you're safe, you're loved, your body can relax. And when you're ready, bring your attention back to your beautiful heart. And then just keep awareness on your heart as you go through your day. And you'll feel that sense of your spirit right there. It will help you connect. It will help you be relaxed as you go through your day.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I truly appreciate that experience, your beautiful energy, and all of your wisdom. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. Now, you have various platforms, obviously, your chronic pleasure book, as well as other books. And you also do coaching, which can be found at KarenLorreCoaching.com. To anyone looking for some personal guidance from you, um, what can you offer? What do you offer people? Is it online, in person, groups, single? If someone's looking for some guidance right now?
First, let me just say you're amazing, and it's so beautiful to be with you here. I can just feel how connected you are, and I really love that. Regarding what people can do, first, I'll give my books to everyone. You can get a link to download them for free. They're also on Amazon, and the first one's on Audible, but the link is chronicpleasurebook.com, chronicpleasurebook.com, and there's 3 books up there right now. Maybe there'll be 4 soon. And then I do both group coaching and I do private coaching. Usually people do both. They come to the group and they come to private. Some people just do the privates if they, I have some people that are their schedules where they're working 14 hours a day, so they can't come to the privates. I mean, to the groups rather. They have to do it when they can do it. But in general, I work with people and it's beautiful. I watch people transform, and that's one of my favorite things to do is to see people do something that they didn't think they could do before.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your mission, your journey, all your tools, or at least some of them. So be sure to check out KarenLorreCoaching.com. Grab the Chronic Pleasure book to start. I'm all about a physical book person. I love to just sit in my bed at night and flip the pages and make notes and highlight, but also on Audible for free, which is amazing. So if there's one thing to remember from today, it's this, that love and joy is not something we just feel, it's something we can actually become. So thank you for enlightening us to this. I'm Destin. This is Fatum. And remember, your path is sacred. Until next time, stay you
Stay true. And thank you so much, Karen. You are such a blessing.
Thank you so much, Destin.
Thank you for watching Fatum. Continue the journey with me at fatumpoetry.com with inspirational photography and clothing designed to reflect our intuition and inspire our greatest self. See you soon.